Hey everyone and welcome. We're going to talk about something that sounds super complicated, blockchain. But what if I told you it's actually as simple as building a tower with blocks? Seriously. Let's jump right in and break this whole thing down.
So here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll imagine blockchain as a simple block tower. Then we'll look at exactly how that tower gets built, and more importantly, what makes it so strong. After that, we'll check out a real-world project, the Pi network, and we'll finish up with how you could even join in.
All right, let's get to the main idea here. For just a minute, I want you to forget all the jargon, all the code, all the crazy algorithms. Instead, let's just picture blockchain as something we all get, a big, tall tower made of building blocks.
Just think about that for a second. Get all the complicated stuff out of your head. For now, we're not talking about tech. We're just talking about building something, piece by piece.
Okay, so picture this. You and a bunch of your friends are all together building this massive tower. And every single time something happens, like one of you gives another a coin, you grab a new block and add it to the very top to write down what just happened.
And you know what? That's pretty much what a blockchain is. It's a digital tower. Every block is a permanent record of a transaction. And here's the cool part. Each new block is locked onto the one before it. It's kind of like every block has the fingerprint of the one just below it, creating this super strong, unbreakable chain.
So we've got this idea of a digital tower. But how does it actually get built? I mean, who decides when to add a new block? Let's walk through that process, step by step.
It's really just a logical sequence. It all has to start somewhere, right? So you have the very first block. People in the know call this the Genesis block, and it holds the very first transaction. From that moment on, anytime a new transaction happens, it gets bundled into a new block and stacked right on top. It just keeps growing and growing, creating this long, chronological history that you can trace all the way back to the very beginning.
Okay, now this is where the real magic is. A tower of blocks might sound kind of flimsy, right? But in the world of blockchain, this structure is unbelievably secure. So let's talk about why the simple tower is so strong.
It all comes down to these three key things. First, it is ridiculously strong. Remember that fingerprint I mentioned? Well, if someone tried to change a block way down in the middle of the tower, it would change its fingerprint. That would create a mismatch with the block above it, and the one above that, and so on, all the way to the top. It would be like trying to pull a Jenga block from the bottom. The whole thing comes crashing down. Second, everyone can see it. Every person involved has their own copy of the entire tower. It's like a public bulletin board. And when you put those two things together, strength and transparency, you get a system where it's almost impossible to cheat.
And this quote from our source material really says it all. This isn't just a boring list of transactions, it's more like a fortress for information. This structure is what lets us trust the record of what happened without needing a bank or some other middleman to verify it for us. That's a huge deal.
All right, so we've got our idea of the tower all figured out. Now, let's switch gears and look at a project that's trying to put this powerful technology, quite literally, into everyone's hands. Let's talk about the Pi network.
So what's the whole point of the Pi network? Well, their main goal, their big mission, is to take cryptocurrency, which is built on this very blockchain technology, and make it so easy to use that anyone can get involved. They're trying to tear down all those confusing barriers.
The project actually has some serious brainpower behind it. It was started back in 2019 by some PhDs from Stanford. As of right now, the main thing people are doing is mining Pi coins right on their smartphones. But the long-term plan is way bigger. They want to create a whole platform where developers can build apps which would give the Pi coin actual, real-world use and value.
So how does it actually work? Well, it's designed to be incredibly simple. You know how Bitcoin mining needs super powerful computers that use a ton of energy? Pi is the opposite. You just open the app and tap a button once a day. That's it. It proves you're a real human helping secure the network. It's also designed to be light on your battery and good for the environment. On top of that, there's a social angle. You can actually increase your mining rate by inviting people you know and trust to join, which helps grow and secure the network at the same time.
Okay, so you get the block tower analogy, you see what the Pi network is trying to do, and maybe you're a little curious. So this last part is just a simple guide based on our source for how you could get started yourself.
It's really just a few simple steps. First, you download the app. You'll need an invitation code to get in, since it's a trust-based network. After that, it's just about remembering to tap that button once a day. Now, there is one really important thing here. Step 4. You have to use your real name when you sign up. Why? Because eventually, the network requires a verification process called KYC, or Know Your Customer, to make sure every single person in the network is a real individual.
And about that invitation code.
the source material points out a pretty big perk to using one. When you use a referral code, you automatically get a 25% boost to your mining speed right out of the gate. The code you see on the screen is the example that was provided in the source we looked at.
And that really brings us to the biggest question of all. You have projects like the Pi network that are working to put the power of blockchain into the hands of millions of ordinary people. By making it this simple, this accessible, could this be what the future of money looks like? Something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.